Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today's video is the first part in my series called Jobs for Goths, and that is because I get asked this question quite often, is what do you do for a living, what is your job, and how do you look for your job, because obviously I don't look like this when I go to work. Well, for some people this might be obvious, but for some people it isn't, because I get asked this question quite often. Now, in this series of videos I want to talk about the jobs I've had and some tips and tricks for finding a job that you want, and maybe explaining the sacrifices I make to have my job and why I want it. So first of all, in today's video I will be talking about the jobs I've had in the past, both as a student and after studying, so after I got my degree. But first of all, I think it is very important that you think for yourself when you're looking for a job, is what do I find most important? Do I find my appearance most important, or do I find the job that I want to do most important? For example, in some working areas like in retail, you can look a certain way that you cannot do when working in administration, especially if you have a lot of contact with clients and with higher placed people in companies. So for example, a friend of mine who's very alternative, who has a lot of piercings, tattoos, who has colored hair, she works at H&M. She's perfectly happy there because she can wear the things that she wants, she can look the way that she wants, and that's her thing, that's what she wants to do. And some other people that I know work at more alternative stores. They work at a game store, like where they sell video games but also card games. They can look the way that they want to look, and it's actually an advantage that they are alternative. But on the other hand, there's also jobs like the one I do, which is administration. I have to look a certain way. I have to dress with blouses, I have to look kind of neutral, I have to be easy to talk to for people. Now, the things that I personally do for my job is I wear neutral makeup. I do not wear all this makeup to my job. This is when I film or when I go out on weekends, and that's perfectly fine to me. Also, I hide my tattoos. At my current job, I'm not sure if I have to hide them or not, but I still do, because I just started working there. I've been working there for a little bit over a month right now, but I still think that it's better to wait until they know me better before I start showing all of my tattoos. And then for piercings, the only piercing that I kind of hide is my septum piercing. I flip it inside my nose, but again, at my current job I'm not even sure if that's necessary, but I still do it. Now, most of my piercings you don't see. As you look at me right now, you do not see everything that is in my ears. And depending on the days, I will have just my nose hoop or my nose stud in, and that's never been an issue in the jobs I've had before. And most of my current tattoos are very easy to hide. I have a big tattoo on my back, I have one here on my arm, and then I have some on my upper legs. So up to right now, it's always been very easy to hide them. Now I am going to continue getting my half sleeve on this arm and then starting on the other one. So maybe that will make it a bit harder, but most of the time I wear blazers that have sleeves that come over my elbows, so it's simply to hide them. And I wear cardigans and other throwover things on my arms if I'm wearing something that doesn't have sleeves, like this top, for example, doesn't have sleeves, but I'm wearing a blazer over it. And that's simply the way how I cover my tattoos. In summer, as it's becoming hotter right now, I will wear skirts with leggings underneath them, because those leggings will hide my tattoos. Now, my first ever job was in a restaurant as a waitress. I also was in the bar area where you have to take drinks and prepare cocktails, etc. But most of the time I was serving tables, taking people's orders, bringing their food, etc. And it was my very first student job when I was 15 or 16. And back then I wasn't as outspokenly alternative, and we had a sort of dress code. As in, we always had to wear black pants and some sort of blousy top, which wasn't ever an issue for me because I had those clothes. Those clothes were really easy findable. It was more or less what I wore to school and in my free times anyway, so I didn't really mind. But it was kind of a uniform. I didn't have piercings or colored hair at the time, so I'm not sure how they would have reacted to those things, but I'm not sure that would have been an issue. I never really wore makeup to work, but that's just something that I personally didn't like when I was younger. Then when I started studying for my bachelor's bachelor's degree, I worked as a student at McDonald's, and at McDonald's they don't have a lot of rules either. You get a uniform, so pants, a top and shoes, so it's really easy, you don't have to worry about what to wear. And in winter we could also wear like a black tight-fitting long sleeve underneath the McDonald's shirts. And for piercings you actually had 3 options at McDonald's, well, at least at the McDonald's that I worked at. Option 1 was to wear retainers so that your piercing would not be able to come out and not be visible. Option 2 was to put a band-aid over it, and if you were lucky you would have skin-colored band-aids, but if you weren't lucky you would have to take those bright blue band-aids that McDonald's has. And option number 3 was the one that I personally didn't want to do, and was taking out my piercings. So what I would do, I would take out the ones in my ears. That was not an issue for me, but I would always put a retainer in my lip piercing when I still used to have it. And for tattoos, that was never an issue there. There were lots of people working there with tattoos, no one seemed to mind. Also, colored hair was never an issue at McDonald's. You just have to put your hair up into a ponytail. So as long as you were able to get your hair out of your face and not get it into the food, that was all cool for them. But I know that the people who were working into the food area, who had to prepare the food, had to wear hairnets. But yeah, that's another thing that I never had to do. There were even people with dreadlocks working at McDonald's, synthetic dreads, really colored hair. There were a lot of alternative people there, and also on makeup, they never seemed to mind. There was a girl who always had like vibrant dark red lipstick on. That was never an issue there. I personally, as I mentioned before, didn't like wearing makeup to work, but that's just me. And right after I graduated, I did my last student job that would lead into my regular job, and that was in administration. So it was a job for 1 month in a company that had someone going on holiday, so I was replacing that person, and it was all basic administration tasks. So after I graduated, which right now is about 2 years ago, I've had 4 jobs since then. First, I worked for Secretary Plus, which is a recruitment agency, and what I did for them was outsourcing. What that means is basically you get a contract and a fixed pay, and under that fixed pay you do all sorts of assignments for them, which can be working at their own offices, which is what I did because I did my internship at them. And then I also did an assignment at a company for them in HR, so I was supporting the HR department of that company. Now unfortunately things didn't went the way we wanted to, and we decided to part ways, and I got my second job, which was at Accenture as a executive assistant. What that means is I was the assistant of 5 to 10 managers, 5 managers who are fixed in my team, and then the other managers that I would be a backup of if one of my coworkers was ill. Now that job was in really big groups of people, as in we were between 10 and 15 assistants in every team, and there were 2 teams that were executive assistants and then 1 team of direct assistants who were for the higher placed managers. Now what we did was mainly travel arrangements, also the visa, so that we had all the right documents to get our managers to go to these countries, as well as meeting planning and all sorts of administrative tasks that the managers would give us. That could be research tasks, that could be translations that I would mainly do because I speak 3 languages, and I really enjoyed working at that company, but we decided to part ways because I didn't like working in such a big team. Then I started working at Vivaldi's, which again is a recruitment agency, and I was what they call a job consultant. So I was helping people find jobs and helping companies fill in the job positions they had open. Now I did stay at Vivaldi's for over 8 months, and there has been a lot of internal changements, which finally led into me having to leave the company, which is okay to me because I was intending on looking for something else in the end. After all, it was never my intention to stay there for as long as I have, but I did, and it wasn't a bad job, but it wasn't like my ultimate goal job. And then it led into the job that I am currently at, which is a job that I absolutely love. Now, I'm not gonna tell you the name of the company, but it is a company that makes pet foods. And basically what I do the back office for the chains that buy at our companies. And what that means is basically answering all the questions that chains have for us, and it is not just Belgium, it is the entire world. So it's all sorts of different tasks and different languages as well, which for me personally is an absolute dream. So this is a overview of the jobs that I've had so far. So I've worked as a waitress at McDonald's and then all sorts of administration jobs. Now, I do have a bachelor's degree in office management, so it would be stupid for me not to look into administration jobs. But if you have studied retail or if you want to work in clothing, you should find jobs that lead up to what you want to do. You can always get a job and then sit it out a tiny bit to get the necessary experience to get your dream job, because that's how the world works. You have to start at the bottom to get to the top, and that's also what I did. I did 2 jobs that I didn't really like as much to finally get to this job, the job I'm currently doing that I absolutely love. So this was part 1 in my Jobs for Goths videos. I will be making a part 2 and a part 3 and maybe even more of them, depending on if you guys have questions or if you guys want to see more. Part 2 is going to be about how to make a resume and how to apply for jobs, which is information I got mainly from my previous jobs. And part 3 is going to be how to prepare for a job interview, because those 2 things for me are the most important things into you getting a job, is how you apply for it and how you present yourself at the job interview, and then of course how you work at that job. That's also super important. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make new videos every week and I would love to have you here for every single one of them. So thank you for watching and I will see you soon. Bye!